Hey y'all, so I am currently by this giant lava crater. We're on the west side of the Steen Mountain in southeast Oregon, and we're going to take a back road to a hot spring. Can't remember the name of the hot spring, but the trick is there a gas station on the way where I can get clean diesel? We are in Fields, Oregon, which apparently has a population of 9, but they do have diesel fuel and apparently some of the best milkshakes in the world. So we're currently waiting for Vanilla so that my sidekick can share with me a little milkshake. But I'm very thankful we were able to fuel. But here's a little peek. Cute little house. Riot. Should just be another mile down this very precarious road. This might be the longest drive. I think it's about 30 miles total down quite such a washboard road. I'm used to these kind of roads, just not for 30 miles. Hopefully it's worth it. Hello, and welcome to Southeast Oregon BLM land. There's some really neat hot springs over that way I might check out later. There's a couple dudes in it right now, so I'm giving them a minute before I see if I'm comfortable in that environment. The first of the 3 videos of me installing the diesel heater and the solar power just went public, and there's some really great questions I thought I would answer or try to answer. First, there's a couple comments that express concern with the way the diesel heater is installed and the way the fuel line is run and the exhaust line. And that's fair and valid, and I appreciate that you guys care enough to express concern. I'm not going to share your concern just yet, given that I've seen several videos of them installed that way and read blog posts and forums of them installed that way, and Robert's had his installed that way and survived over the past year. I by no means have a death wish or desire to put in an insurance claim on the cargo trailer. So believe me, if there's any issue, I will be the first to suck it up and tuck my tail and say you guys were right and express that. But I'll keep, the CO2 detector near, and I'll double check the exhaust for any issue. But the reality is the exhaust pipe is about 3 inches away from wood, and it, even on the bottom, the clamp puts it about 1/4 inch away from the bottom of the cargo trailer, and the only thing it rests on down there is metal. So I'm gonna give it a minute of trying it out before I get concerned, especially under the circumstances of knowing someone that has had success with this very setup for the past year. But I appreciate the concern. High Desert Living did mention that for the ABS solar cable entry on the roof, he recommended using self-leveling sealant, and I understand where this comment came into play because I call it caulk in the video, but that was really just so I could make a caulk joke. It actually was self-leveling roofing sealant, so it absolutely is good. It's not going to leak or anything like that. Again, if I screw up, I'll be the first to admit it. I think that's part of the fun, is me being, doing things, and hey, if I F up, I'll be the first to own it. I think I'm not a very dramatic person, so really the only way that this channel is going to have drama is through me fucking up. So, not that I want to, but that is self-leveling sealant. I simply called it caulk in the video so that I could make a caulk joke. Mature, I'm sure. Janice Peck asked if the diesel heater causes condensation, and the answer is no, and that is one of the big reasons I went with it. So I wasn't even going to heat it. I just, for the last year, I just sucked it up when it was cold and put on more clothing. I did use a Mr. Buddy heater for a little bit, but the condensation was just obnoxious, especially because I was in the Pacific Northwest. If you go back to spring videos that I did in spring, I talk about that a couple times. And so my biggest thing was I did not want to use propane. It's too wet, it's too moist, and propane's super flammable. And I mean, if anything, that's where you want to worry about exhaust fumes, is using like a Mr. Buddy heater, not something that has sealed clamps and is vented outside. So that is one of the benefits of the diesel heater, is it's super dry heat, and it's going to help with condensation as opposed to cause condensation. So that was a really great question, because I did not mention that. Duddy's Adventure, I don't know if it's Duty's Adventure or Duddy's Adventure, my apologies, says great install, thank you. And curious on how well it works in the trailer. So far so great. I've used it a few times, and it's worked awesome, and I'm still alive, and nothing's burned down, so I feel like we're at a good start. His actual question is, maybe I missed it, but do you know how much diesel it will consume per hour heating the trailer? And the answer is no. But Robert told me that a full tank, which is about 3 gallons, will last 6 days, give or take, if you run it all the time. So like when he was running his back last winter, pretty much 24 hours, his diesel tank would last about 6 days. So I'll keep you guys updated. I mean, let me kind of use it for 3 months, 6 months, whatever, and then I can kind of come back to you and kind of give you an update on it. But I know it just uses very, very small amount, which is great. It also uses a very, very small amount of solar power, of electricity. Like, it barely is touching my battery. I kind of have a massive battery to only be using a diesel heater through it right now. So pretty soon I'll get on continuing the project and getting more things to use up more solar, but at any rate, it doesn't use a lot of fuel and doesn't use a lot of electricity. Lois Rickman asked, will there be an issue with the diesel fuel getting thick at colder temps? And I think this is a great question. It's something that I worried about in my truck. And when I was in Wisconsin in December, I went and got my truck serviced, and I talked to the mechanics there about it. They said that the diesel really, I mean, if you keep a full tank, you're less likely to have problems. If you're keeping, you know, just a little bit in your tank, it's kind of like water and ice. If you have a big body of water, it's not going to ice over as quickly as a thin layer of water. So obviously I want to be mindful to keep my diesel in my truck and my diesel in my heater tank full when it's going to be super cold temp, but by and large it's going to have to also be under freezing, because diesel freezes at about the same temperature as water, about 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So I just want to keep my tanks full. And the reality is I'm not in cold weather very long. I spent the last 37 years in the Midwest, so part of me living this life is to not be in cold temperatures, certainly not below freezing temperatures for very long, if at all. I don't want to ever shovel snow again if I can help it. I did that for a very, very long time. So hopefully I won't be in temperature that would require me to be too terribly concerned about the diesel freezing. However, I do carry around a product called Diesel 911 that was recommended by the mechanic at a Ford dealership back in my hometown in Wisconsin, as an additive or a preventative if you think that your diesel is going to gel. So if you're in colder temperatures, and you know, people that live in colder temperatures, my truck is in fact from French Canada, so I know for a fact the truck has been in freezing cold temperatures, and usually what they do is they plug the trucks into a heater block, but I don't think I'm going to have to deal with that, so I'm not going to be able to answer that question very good. I think Google's going to be your best friend. Sorry. And she also says, stay safe and warm, be blessed. Thank you, you too. So those are the questions so far. A lot of you said, you know, very cool, and hey, you know, you're doing a good job and all that. And I want to thank you guys for your support. It is a little bit vulnerable being as authentic as I am on camera. There is no sugarcoating, and you know, I'm not twirling around in a bikini pretending that it's all shits and giggles. So I appreciate you guys accepting me for my oddities and adventures, and I'll keep answering your questions, and you can keep seeing different scenes as the questions evolve. So I was not raised in a household that one would consider to be body positive. You could consider it highly risk averse, which is why I have never been in a hot spring before. Now there's people up there, and for the past several hours I have used several excuses to not go in that hot spring. But I am going to suck up my courage, overcome my foundational programming. Sorry, Mom, I know you did the best that you could. And I'm gonna go in a hot spring for the first time. Taking a few hours to work up my courage and also hike with Riot means that no one is in the hot spring. So for my very first time, I don't have the added pressure of strangers half naked around me. Raised like a typical American. Ooh, it's hot. It's also kind of slippery, so.
That's what I was wondering. Well, you brought your water shoes, huh?
I did bring my water shoes because, I don't know, at least my feet won't be naked.
Well, I can always.
Ooh, it is hot, man.
I can always switch shoes. Put them on. I have plenty of shoes for water.
Wow, I'm in a hot spring. Look at me go. The first time for everything. It's weird to be in a body of water that so many people have been in when there's not like chlorine or a stream or something. But I guess, is this fed from like underground?
Mm-hmm.
So there's some sort of movement of water, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Self-growth takes time. But I'm doing it. Okay. Feels good.
Yeah, it's a nice temperature. Oh, that's one thing I would never do.
Why? Why?
They tell you don't ever.
Why?
Something in the water.
Shut the fuck up. Are you serious?
Do not submerge your head.
Why didn't you tell me that earlier?
Oh, I didn't know you were going to do it.
Well, why would I come to a pool of water if I'm not going to submerge my head?
Yeah, don't do that.
What am I going to get? Am I going to get worms in my ears?
I don't know.
Oh.
Let's look it up.
Thanks for watching.